Hello, welcome to Through the Big Book with Dr. Ben. My name is Ben, and I'm an alcoholic, and with me is my friend Jim B. from Tulsa. Today we'll be going through the doctor's opinion, and this is a chapter that both Jim and I are very passionate about, so I'm not sure how many episodes we're going to pull out of this, but rest assured you will have a very full understanding of the doctor's opinion when you are done watching and reading this with us. So without any further ado, the doctor's opinion is on page XXV, which is 25 in Roman numerals. It says, "We of Alcoholics Anonymous believe that the reader will be interested in the medical estimate of the plan of recovery described in this book. Convincing testimony must surely come from medical men who've had experience with the sufferings of our members and have witnessed our return to health. A well-known doctor, chief physician at a nationally prominent hospital specializing in alcoholic and drug addiction, gave Alcoholics Anonymous this letter." Before we read this letter, Jim, do you want to give us a little update on what's going on here?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you again for allowing me the privilege of doing this. But as we read the doctor's opinion, and we're going to learn here in a minute, that remember Dr. Silkworth was a prominent neuropsychiatrist in New York City, thousands of clients. But because of the depression, he lost almost all of them. Okay. As a result of that, to keep his practice going, he took a job at the Towns Hospital in New York City. The Towns Hospital was a hospital that treated alcoholics and drug addicts. It was mostly for the elite. It was across the street from Central Park. And turns out that Dr. Silkworth, like I said, had treated about maybe as many as 10,000 alcoholics before this was written. He theorized that the body and the mind of an alcoholic is different from the average drinker. So with this in mind, our co-founder, Bill Wilson, had gone to him, and he learned the physical allergy and the mental obsession that creates alcoholism. Okay.
All right, so then it says, "To whom it may concern. I've specialized in the treatment of alcoholism for many years. In late 1934, I attended a patient who, though he had been a competent businessman of good earning capacity, was an alcoholic of a type I'd come to regard as hopeless." So there we go. There's the golden Wonka ticket. Back again, the word hopelessness.
Hopeless.
That's
Exactly.
our entry ticket.
That's right.
Said in the course of his third treatment, he acquired certain ideas concerning a possible means of recovery. As part of his rehabilitation, here we are again, it says he commenced to present his conceptions to other alcoholics, impressing upon them that they must do likewise with still others.
Mm-hmm.
This has become the basis of a rapidly growing fellowship of these men and their families. This man and over 100 others appear to have recovered.
That to me is one of the first promises of Alcoholics Anonymous, because we emphasize a lot of times the promises, well, this is one of the first promises in the book.
Yep. And I just want to stop on that word real quick. It's just a matter of semantics, but to me, from my experience, promises is something, it was kind of a soft word to me, because when I was in third grade, I'd promise people I wouldn't throw rocks at them. But I did. I promised I wouldn't do this, and so promises is kind of a soft word to me as a science, as a guy of science, and what I do like is results or an output, if you will. If I use, let's just say a physics equation or a math equation, if I put something into it, I'm going to get the same result every time. And so to me, if you wonder a little bit about the promises or think that that's maybe too lofty of a thing, you may consider thinking about them as results. These are just the results. You Correct. Do this part of the big book. The result is output this.
Exactly. But it says here, though, the promise is...
Right, exactly.
This man and over 100 others appear to have recovered.
Yep.
That's a promise.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, and so this is what, the fourth time in the big book, and we're still in Roman numerals, or more. I've actually lost count at this point, where they're still impressing upon that we must present our conceptions, this process to other alcoholics to stay sober.
Exactly.
So I know I feel like we're kind of beating the dead horse here, but it's just such a big part of this program to me.
That's right.
And then we talked about recovered in the foreword to the first edition, so I won't go over that again.
Thank you.
So to pick it up, it says, I personally know scores of cases who are of the type with whom the other methods had failed completely. Now, in 2022, how many different methods do you know of or have heard of besides Alcoholics Anonymous?
Well, see, there's a new one that's now being advertised on KRMG every day about the science of the science of alcoholism.
Yep.
About how to recover.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a new one every day, it seems.
Yeah.
So this sentence is still very, like pretty much the entire rest of the book, still very, it means a lot today. So then it says, these facts appear to be of extreme medical importance. Because of the extraordinary possibilities of rapid growth inherent in this group, they may mark a new epoch in the annals of alcoholism. An epoch, what that means is it's like a period of history, period of time in history marked by notable events. So these men may well have a remedy for thousands of such situations. You may rely absolutely on anything they say about themselves. Very truly yours, William D. Silkworth, M.D. And in the first edition, all that has is an underscore.
Correct.
An M.D.
Correct.
He had his name taken off of there. Do you want to open up on that?
Yeah, because see, I mean, in the first edition, it was signed anonymous MD.
Yeah.
Or just blank.
Underscore.
Yeah, MD. Well, that's because back then, when this was written, alcoholism was still considered a moral issue. It had something to do with values, morals, lifestyle, sin, and there had not been that much medical research done. Well, between the first edition and the second edition, there was more medical research, and they learned this is no longer an opinion, it's basically a theory that yes, people like us, who are alcoholics, and we're going to learn more about this here in just a second, but it's now been proven scientifically, physiologically, that when I take a drink, something happens inside this body that does not happen in most people that drink.
Right.
Somewhere in the digestive process, it's going to send a signal to the brain that says more. Most people that drink do not have that.
And we'll unpack more on that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here shortly.
But it says here, though, and this is very vital. It says the physician who at our request gave us this letter has been kind enough to enlarge upon his views in another statement which follows. In this statement, he confirms that we who have suffered alcoholic torture must believe that the body of the alcoholic is quite as abnormal as his mind. That's what we just talked about. It does not satisfy us to be told we cannot control our drinking just because we are maladjusted to life, that we're in full flight from reality, or we're outright mental defectives. These things are true to some extent. In fact, to a considerable extent with some of us, but we're sure our bodies are sickened as well. In our belief, any picture of the alcoholic, which leaves out the physical factor, is incomplete. Now here it goes. The doctor's theory that we have an allergy to alcohol interests us. As laymen, our opinion as to its soundness may of course mean little, but as ex-problem drinkers, we can say that this explanation makes good sense. Now, my gosh, this next sentence, it freed me from the shame and guilt. It explains many things for which we cannot otherwise account.
Yeah.
Wow. Why this is so important to me is that I thought, no, wait a minute, an allergy to alcohol? What do you mean an allergy? I drink and I don't sneeze and wheeze. I don't break out in rashes.
Right.
You know, but I could have an allergy to something like that.
I hear people say, I got an allergy, I break out in handcuffs.
Oh, yes. But the point is, though, that, I mean, I was it says it explains many things for which we cannot otherwise account. And I saw this, I thought, no, and this, one example, hundreds of examples, but that's one that always I go back to. Getting ready to get off work. Coworker having a birthday. Coworkers decided to have his birthday party at a happy hour. At that time, I was living in a Tulsa suburb out in Broken Arrow. I had a stepson named Brian. Called my wife, said, hey, a coworker's having a birthday. We're going to celebrate at a happy hour. No problem. Pick Brian up from soccer. Dinner will be ready at 7. So I go and socialize with my coworkers. Have a couple of drinks. They had a couple of drinks and they left. I had a couple of drinks that created a craving inside me that they didn't have. I got home well after 2 in the morning. My stepson had been abandoned at the soccer field. Dinner had been trashed. She's screaming at me, you sorry, rotten, no good SOB, why are you doing this to us? Why are you doing this to us? And I look at her and say, I don't know. I read that sentence. It explains many things for which we cannot otherwise account. It dawned on me, and I was emphasized to me that I was not a bad person trying to get good.
Yeah.
I was a sick person trying to get well.
Yep. There it
This
is.
is an example of this. It explains many things for which we cannot otherwise account. Wow. And it literally freed it freed me
Yeah.
from that shame and guilt. And I was going, that was just on the start of the process of it.
Yeah.
Naturally, the rest of it happened through steps 4 through 9.
Yeah.
But this was the beginning of the process.
Same thing. I felt the same way. I remember when I heard that, I thought that there was just something wrong with my mind. It was just who I was. It was just how I am, and that's just what I do. But when I read this in a room full of others, it was finally like, wow, maybe I could actually do something about this.
Exactly.
Maybe I felt like I really truly was in the right place. Finally.
Exactly.
So that concludes part 1 of Doctor's Opinion, and we will pick it right back up with part 2 and Through the Big Book with Dr. Ben, with me, Ben, and my very special friend and guest, Jim B. So thank you greatly, and God bless you.